We've all had those nights where we just do not feel like cooking. So if that's you, then stay tuned because I'm gonna share with you the 5 tips that I use in my own kitchen when I'm having one of those nights. And I'm also gonna categorize them from least favorite to most, so make sure you watch to the very end. Hi, I'm Katie, and if you like homemaking, faith, decor, and crafts, then hit that subscribe button because I cover all of that on my channel. Okay, so for the first tip, this one is a common one, and it's to have a solid go-to recipe that is super easy to make. And for me, that's mac and cheese. And I know some of you might be cringing because it's not exactly the healthiest for the waistline, but it's soul food in my book. And I can confidently say that because I didn't have mac and cheese growing up, so I'm making up for lost time right now. But that's the first one, to have some easy recipes that you can just quickly throw together in like a couple minutes or whatever. Okay, so for the next one, it is to give yourself a minute. And I'm saying this because sometimes when I don't feel like cooking, it's because my day is just go, 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 like things back to back. And sometimes we just need a break from the busyness of this world. So if you don't feel like cooking, maybe just give yourself a minute. Like sit down, just have a quiet moment. If you have a nice area outside, like on a screened-in porch, and sit there, just find your inner peace. And then after that moment is over, then allow yourself that time to cook. Okay, so for the third tip, it is to change what you're making. And this is definitely for those meal planners out there who have already set in their mind what they want to make for that day. And I'm saying this because sometimes you feel like you don't want to cook, and it's not really because you don't want to cook, it's so much as like you don't want the outcome of what you're about ready to cook. And if you're not looking forward to that recipe, then that will definitely transition to you just don't want to, do it, understandably. So maybe make something that you would much rather eat instead, that you're actually inspired to make and that you would enjoy eating. Okay, so fourth up on the list is to actually make a charcuterie board. And I think this one is super fun. And it's especially a nice, difference between just having like a homemade meal. It's nice sometimes to just pick on cheese and crackers and fill yourself up on those like smaller snacky foods. And it can still be healthy. Like you can put some fresh fruit and some vegetables in there. Like it doesn't have to be all just cheese. But yes, making a charcuterie board is fun, and it will definitely lend itself to being something else that you can do instead of spending a whole hour trying to make a nice gourmet meal. And it's especially nice for those like, I don't say special days, but like if I do this, it's typically on a Sunday when my husband and I are getting home from church. So at that point, it's like, kind of later on in the day to be starting to make a meal. So it's nice because it's quick and easy, and I enjoy doing it, and I know many other people do as well. So for the last one, which is my favorite, and it's easy, but it does require a little bit of thinking ahead, and that is to actually freeze meals that you make. And so you can either like double a recipe when you are cooking and then just freeze half of it. Or like if you have a party or some type of function where there's an abundance of food, like for example, my husband had like a work event and they had a ton of leftovers that he brought home. So I was able to freeze some of it. So like situations like that, or even if you're just sick of eating the same leftovers day after day after day, instead of just throwing it out or not eating it, just freeze it. And then when you have one of those nights where you don't feel like cooking, it's great because you can just take it out and it's a home cooked meal that tastes great, that you like, that is already made up and prepared ahead of time. And I will say this, I am kind of transitioning away from using tins for this. And I say that because the tins kind of like, depending on, I think it's the acidity of the food, it will kind of like rust a little bit, and I don't like that, you know, don't want metal poisoning. So my workaround is I'll just put parchment paper down first for now, but in the meantime, I am starting to acquire Pyrex dishes that you can put in the freezer, and that way I'm not, you know, spending a ton of money on aluminum tins time after time of doing this. I just have a big selection of glass that I can just reuse, which is nice. But yeah, it doesn't matter how you do it, but I'm telling you, it is a game changer. So definitely whatever meal you make that day, in the beginning of the week, or whenever you are cooking, just make extra and then freeze it, and then you have it for those nights that you do not feel like cooking. But there you have it, the 5 different tips that I use, that I am encouraging you to use if you don't feel like cooking. Until next time, I will see you then. Bye.